Majora's Mask. Probably the scariest Zelda games of all time, except for Zelda Twilight Princess. This game got scary dungeons, scary looking enemies, and a whole dark theme to the whole game. You guys and girls have probably been playing this game more than once, so you mean you knows everything about it. At least about the characters, the enemies, how to get the different items and stuff like that. But what about all of the things that we don't know anything about? The things that are well hidden in the game's data files, well hidden in the game, and we don't even find with the bare eye. In this video I will show you 25 things that you didn't know about Majora's Mask. So let's start the journey, we have a long time to go. Number 1. An unused fishing minigame can be found in the game's data. It would have been similar to the one in Ocarina of Time. You should be able to get some few fishes on your hook, and you will even win a prize if you got the biggest one in the whole game. Rumors floating around the internet, and these tells us that if you catch the Jabu Jabu fish, you should be able to save the whole world from the moon. Because that makes sense. Number 2. The Happy Mask Salesman is based on the Legend of Zelda creator Shigeru Miyamoto. The mask resembling Mario that appears on the Salesman backpack could also be a reference to this, because Miyamoto also created the Mario franchise. Number 3. In the cafe quest you actually obtain a little item which has a reference to the very first Zelda game. Cafe gives Link a pendant of memories. He asked Link to keep it as a secret to everybody, which is a reference to the very popular quote from The Legend of Zelda to the NES. Number 4. If you take a look at the very early trailers for Majora's Mask, you will be able to see Sora Link, Deku Link and Goron Link had their own instrument icon on the C buttons instead of the ocarina. I don't know why Nintendo scrapped this from the original game, but this seems to be pretty cool and really good detail to the whole game. I know it's a minor detail, but it seems to be pretty cool that the icon changes from person to person to person, or from mask to mask to mask. Anyway, this was reused later on in the 3DS version. Number 5. After playing the Song of Soaring, the map that displays the locations that Link can travel to comes up. The locations of the Southern Swamp and Woodfall are displayed incorrectly. The Southern Swamp is shown to be east of Woodfall, but the player must travel east from Southern Swamp in order to go to the old Hex Potion Shop, Deku Palace and Woodfall. Later on this was corrected in the 3DS version. Number 6. Originally the in-game 3-day system was going to be a week instead, but Aonuma, the game's director, thought that the player would be annoyed of having to go through an entire week after week after week if you are turning back the time, so that would be a huge problem for the player, and I can follow him with that. Number 7. Majora's Mask was originally planned to have a doll's mask instead of a fierce deity mask. This allowed Link to use some different items than he could as young Link. For example, the bow and the hookshot and stuff like that. Just like in Ocarina of Time. This idea was later scrapped and turned into a fierce deity mask instead, which is extremely overpowered and you can only use it in boss rooms. Seriously, that's disappointing. Number 8. An unused cutscene shows us the Great Fairy physically train Link with the specific learned magic instead of just magically transferred to him. This cutscene is really special and creeps me out a little bit because she's a kinky girl, if I can say that. But this cutscene really turns something on in me. It really motivates me to go to the fitness and do some gym, really. Number 9. In the original version, the moon should have no scary dream haunting face. Every time you looked at it, you won't be scared as hell. An early screenshot shows us a clear look of the moon with no scary teeth or some scary evil eyes. Nothing. It was just basically a normal moon. Great. Also, some official artwork shows us that this is just a normal moon. I don't know why Nintendo added all of these scary things to it, because that moon really haunted my childhood. Number 10. Originally the 3 masks should have their own item on the B button. For example, Deku Link should have Deku Nuts, Goron Link should have the Megaton Hammer from Ocarina of Time, and same with Sora Link should also have the hookshot from Ocarina of Time on the B button. This could be such a cool detail to the whole game, because then we see some different items from Ocarina of Time also appearing in Majora's Mask, and it would also be pretty cool to see Sora Link traveling around Great Bay Temple with the hookshot from Ocarina of Time. Number 11. The second line of masks in your inventory resembles 5 characters from the franchise called Star Fox, also made by Nintendo. Pretty cool, especially if you haven't been playing that game. Woo! Number 12. Bend Round is fake. Number 13. The name Majora seems to come from the ancient Brazilian tribal times. The name MARAJOARA appeared in the time, which is the name of a man who creates masks and decorations. These masks that were created at the time looks pretty much like the ones that appears in Majora's Mask. Number 14. Originally Majora's Mask should have 2 of the songs from Ocarina of Time. The 2 songs were Sun's Song and Saria's Song. Saria's Song doesn't make sense at all because she doesn't even appear in Majora's Mask, but Sun's Song is something different. By using cheat codes you can actually activate the ability to play these 2 songs in the actual game. Saria's Song doesn't do anything at all, but Sun's Song actually does something with your game. You actually turns a half day further on, so it's just like an Ocarina of Time where you can turn day to night or night to day. Number 15. 3 unused masks appears in the game's data files. One of these masks is the face of Link. That's right, really creepy. All 3 masks should be worn by the Skull Kid in different cutscenes around the game. I have no idea where these masks should appear around the game because a Link mask seems to be pretty weird. Number 16. On one of the pillars around the Ikana castle you can find a little paper airplane. Nobody knows how it ended up there and who actually threw this. Anyways, you can't do anything with it, but it's pretty cool to know that you can find an actual airplane in Majora's Mask. Number 17. If you fly from north part of Clock Town to the middle part of Clock Town, aka the south Clock Town, you will be able to see a beta version of the clock tower. Nothing special is changed, but a fence around the ledge is appearing, and also it seems to be a little bit different from the original version. You can compare here. Number 18. The music that appears in the Great Sora Hall is taken from previous Zelda games. The main hall music comes from Ocarina of Time. The Sora Tijo plays the cave theme from Link to the Past. The Sora called Japas plays a part from the dungeon theme from the original Zelda. And even the last Sora plays the game over music also from the original Zelda game. Number 19. Originally the Fairy Ocarina from Ocarina of Time should also be available in Majora's Mask. In some very early screenshots we can clearly see the Fairy Ocarina appears on the B button, which seems pretty weird. Number 20. If you make your way out of Clock Town first time you play as Deku Link, you will be able to pass the ice at the entrance to the Snowhead area. You will also be able to go to Woodfall without watching that boring long cutscene about the Skull Kid stealing the Majora's Mask. You can't sadly do anything because Deku Link, he doesn't help you. You can't sadly do a lot of things because Deku Link is probably the weakest masks of them all. But it's pretty cool to pass the ice and be able to go to the Snowhead area. But then you will meet some snowballs and your way will be blocked, so good luck. Number 21. The aliens who haunts the Romani ranch at night is heavily inspired by the mist from the 50s, 60s, called the FLATWOODS Monster. Ugh. Look at it! Number 22. In the Astral Observatory, you will be able to find a little piece of paper with a drawn dolphin. This seems to be a rumor at the time that indicated that Majora's Mask would come out later that year, maybe some years after, for the GameCube system. Dolphin is a codename for GameCube, so that's probably a little hint for that. Number 23. The Japanese version of Majora's Mask got a whole nother area that appears in one of the courtyards in the Deku Palace. The area is clearly just a shortcut from one of the courtyards to the other one, but it's pretty cool because it's nothing that we have seen before. We got a lot of vines, we got some enemies going on down there, so it's actually a pretty nice place. You can also grind a little bit, so if you need some rupees and stuff like that, that might be the right place. Number 24. If you go from the title screen into the file select screen and back into the title screen once again, an alternate intro to Majora's Mask will play. Nothing is special with this intro, but you see some different areas than you usually do in the original intro. In the original intro you see Clock Town in different angles and stuff like that, but in the alternate intro you will see Romani Ranch, Pirate Fortress and the Ikana Graveyard. Number 25. In the final boss room you will see some flower looking textures on the floor. If you turn into Deku Link you will be able to dig down in them to hide your ass from Majora's Mask, the final boss. But basically I don't even get the meaning of placing these flowers here, because maybe this flower saves you from the final boss, but it can't even do any kind of damage to it. I think the meaning of placing the flower here could be if you turn into Deku Link and then digs down in it, and when the boss runs over this flower you can pop up and do a little damage to it like you do in some of the boss battles around in the game. Finally, we went through all of the things I don't think you guys and girls knows about Majora's Mask. You have clearly seen or heard or knows about some of these things by playing your own game or just discover it on Google. But it seems that Majora's Mask is much bigger than we actually think it is. Basically, it just got 4 dungeons and a smaller area in comparison to newer Zelda games, but I think Majora's Mask really has some history and a great content design that we can clearly explore much more of. It's always so interesting to play the game and finding all of these things and actually explore the game in a whole nother way than just playing through it. It's always so interesting to play a game and exploring it in a whole nother way than you are used to just by playing the game, but actually looking for all of these things that we have never seen before or probably don't know about. But the last thing I can say for now, guys and girls, is thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed watching this very special video. It's not what I'm used to, but I think I really felt for making a Majora's Mask video, because usually I do Ocarina of Time and Ocarina of Time and a bit more Ocarina of Time. So I hope you guys and girls enjoyed this. Make sure to throw a like after it, comment in the comment section below and share it with your friends, and for sure subscribe for much more great content of Zelda and me, if that is great content. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys and girls. Bye!